It is the Savage Nation, the vermin in the left-wing media. The vermin in the left-wing media are working overtime to make certain that you and your children are dead. They're now going after the CIA in a way that only the enemies of America could have dreamed. The ACLU is now working hand in glove with the Islamic terrorist network in order to undermine the CIA to a point that we will no longer be able to defend ourselves. Now, look, I'm a student of the immune system. In fact, my best-selling book was translated into 6 languages in 1988, I believe it was, called Maximum Immunity. And I studied the immune system. As you all know, we have white blood cells. Let's say you went to high school and you know about white blood cells. You cut yourself, the white blood cells increase in number. They rush to the site of the injury, and the white blood cells are internal defenders. What happens with a body when the white blood cells get wiped out is that any infection that may invade the body will proliferate to the extent that it will kill the body. The CIA, the police, the military should be seen as our white blood cells, to make it very simple. When you have an autoimmune disease where the body turns on itself and begins to kill its own defense cells, you have an animal or an organism that will die. Right now, the ACLU has given the United States of America AIDS, political AIDS. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? When you have psychotics in the ACLU attacking our white blood cells, i.e., the police, the military, the CIA now, what they're going to do is make this country unable to defend itself, open us up to a massive infection by an invading army or enemy, and we'll all die. And so, therefore, when I say to you the vermin in the media are responsible for every problem we have, you know I'm right. The vermin on MSNBC, the Salenterates on MSNBC, hand in glove with the ACLU, hand in glove with the enemies of America, hand in glove with the Islamic fascists. They are your enemy. Make no mistake about it. They're fighting to destroy you. And if you think my being banned in Britain has no relationship to this, you're insane. I am the most outspoken person in talk radio. I am the most outspoken opponent of the New World Order. I am the most outspoken opponent of Gordon Brown. I am the most outspoken opponent of this very same left-wing rat, Gordon Brown, who just released the Lockerbie bomber. The very same Gordon Brown who released the Lockerbie bomber. Said so, he did so through his Scottish cohort, that he released the Lockerbie bomber for compassionate and merciful reasons. Well, I sent them a letter 2 months ago saying, your own emails say that Michael Savage has never encouraged violence. Michael Savage was put on a list to balance the inclusion list, the exclusion list. In other words, to not make the radical Muslims feel singled out. And yet you would not take my name off that list, Gordon Brown, would you? And so I sit here alone, Daniel in the lion's den. I have a number of different analogies. I am alone. I am alone on this. And the forces of evil, the vermin who are now attacking the CIA because they feel so emboldened, because they have a top-flight character of their own in the White House named Barack Hussein Obama, because they now have coverage in the White House surrounded by thugs from the gutters of Oakland and the gutters of Chicago. They're now attacking the very white blood cells that would defend us, the CIA. What man or woman listening to this program right now would ever go to work for an intelligence agency, having such rats as we have in the verminous media, and such rats as we have in the National Lawyers Guild and the ACLU, out of control right now because they are inside the White House? The enemies are in the gates. The enemies are in the White House. Make no mistake about it. We are ripe for the loss of our very freedom itself. And I said that to a reporter, Jennifer Harper from the Washington Times, who quoted me, and it's up on michaelsavage.com. Here you have a president who uses czars instead of appointed officers. Czars. Out of the Soviet Union, czars. Who gave a president the right to use czars? Who are these czars? Don't you people see what's happened here? Moreover, after he gets through jamming socialized medicine down our throats, he's going to try to jam 30 million illegals down our throats. And so I go back to my main point. I have advocated borders, language, and culture ever since I started in radio in 1994. The New World Order opposes borders. They want open borders. The New World Order opposes a single language that is a cohesive element in any nation. They want a polyglot of languages, the more the merrier, because it keeps people apart. It isolates people. It separates people. It divides people. And they oppose any nation's culture, They do not want nations to have individual identifiable cultures. I have written about it. I've talked about it. That is why the British put Michael Savage on the list of banned people. And that's why you have to help me. That's why you have to go to michaelsavage.com and order the book. That's why you have to pay very close attention to what I'm going to say to you over the next few weeks. Because right after Labor Day, we're going to start a letter writing, email writing campaign to every congressman and every senator in America. Over 100 of them joined to get Ramos and Campion freed from the jails. Remember the Border Patrol agents? I hope to get at least 100 congressmen and senators to demand that this illegitimate labor government get my name off that list immediately. This is Michael Savage. I'll be right back.
Savage.
So the Lockerbie bomber who actually killed over 200 people is released, and the left wing cheers. And the very next few days, instead of attacking the decision to release a terrorist, the radical left instead attacks the CIA and says that, oh, they put a loaded gun next to the head of a terrorist, or they threatened his family. Now, I want you to understand who we're dealing with. These are people who actually blow up buildings, blow up airplanes, cut people's heads off while they're alive. And these verminous rats on the left are concerned that the men who have the guts to actually go in a cell and face them should be tried and convicted of some kind of violation of the Geneva Convention. They're going to get us all killed. Don't you understand this? Don't you understand the danger you are in because of the psychopaths in the ACLU, the National Lawyers Guild, and within the Justice Department itself? Don't you understand who is running the country right now? Can't you figure it out? Can't you put two and two together? The radical academic left, in cahoots with the Islamic international fascist networks, have now put a loop around America's neck, and they're tightening the loop. Their friends in the rat media, of course, instead of focusing on the release of the Lockerbie bomber, instead of focusing on a member of the American media being put on a list of murderers and terrorists, namely yours truly, Michael Savage, instead they're focusing on the brave men and or women who actually had the guts to go in a cell with the most despicable human beings the planet has ever seen. The lowest of the low, vermin who would take a child and throw it down a well. Vermin who cut people's heads off while they're alive while chanting. If you don't believe it, go on to various websites. You can find it. They pay no attention to those atrocities. They pay no attention to the atrocity of the Pan Am plane being blown up midair, killing over 200 people. Instead, they pay attention to the way these rats were interrogated to prevent another 9/11, or to prevent another ship from being blown up, or to prevent God knows what. In Florida, Carrie, you're up on the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Yes, first I wanted to give you a compliment, and second I had a question. First of all, you completely changed the way that I look at things. In the last 2 years I've been listening to you, I had no opinion of politics at all. And now I look forward to flipping to my AM station and listening to your wisdom and knowledge, completely giving me a lens that now everything that I look at, I can see through everything.
But Carrie, don't you understand why that makes me a dangerous man to the Obama administration and to the international socialist brigades? Don't you understand that anybody who can awaken the people, can enlighten the people, can motivate the people is a danger to the New World Order? Don't you see that, Carrie?
Yes, I definitely see, and I can't say your name or speak my ideas to a lot of people at work, friends. It's like I'm speaking like conspiracy theories, crazy things. And
that's because they've been brainwashed, Carrie, and the brainwashed must be expunged from your life. I had to do it before I entered radio, or soon thereafter, I had to get rid of my so-called friends, because all of them dragged me down. Every last one of them dragged me down with their biases and their cowardice. And if you have to go it alone, then go it alone. It's better to walk alone in truth than to be amongst the mob in ignorance. That's all I can say, Carrie. Thanks for the call. Skip, Ohio, welcome. You're on the Savage Nation.
Dr. Savage, I've tried so long to get a hold of you. Now, I'm 63 years old. I'm retired for 3.5 years. And I've been a Democrat all my life. I've been a union official all my life, and until January 8th. And I started listening to some of these radio stations that Carrie uses and others. And I despise what's going on with this administration.
Well, don't you understand why they want talk radio silence? Because we're the only voices of opposition. We're the actual dissent in America that the phony left claims they believe in dissent. I am Dr. Dissent, not them. They are the government. They're the establishment. They're the ones you should fear.
I do.
Tell me a man who believes that you can trust the government, and I will show you an evil man. Show me a man who says, I trust the government, and you know that he's in on the conspiracy. What is there to trust in the government? Even liberals will tell you, love your country, but don't trust your government. That's a given across the entire political spectrum, is it not, Skip? Conservative, liberal, Republican, Democrat, don't trust your government. What was the Constitution written for? It was written by very wise white males hundreds of years ago to make certain that we did not wind up living in a tyranny again. Now we wake up living in the tyranny of Obama, who has czar after czar after czar.